What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner. And you know what? The Democrats are in trouble in November. And I'm going to tell you why they're going to lose. Because the Democrats would rather spend their time trying to discredit the president, undo a duly elected president, and worry about illegal immigrants more than immigrants. On MSNBC, they had someone on there yesterday that referred to Molly Tibbetts as a girl in Iowa, and felt that Fox would rather be talking about a girl in Iowa than to be talking about all of these accusations from the president's prior business associates and their crimes that really mean nothing, but yet they want to focus on that stuff. They want to redirect the attention of the American people on some garbage. And see, if they had any type of intelligence, they would not repeat what they did during the 2016 elections. See, they're going to lose because they're showing their hand. It is so obvious that this is a witch hunt. It is so obvious that their goal and objective is to destroy the president, to undo a duly elected president, that all of his supporters, if they're not motivated to come out and vote, they're going to be now. Especially when you see them blatantly trying to ignore the facts surrounding the young lady whose body was found just because it was an illegal immigrant. They're trying to make it seem like this stuff with Michael Cohen, this stuff with Paul Manafort is way more important than real problems, meaning Molly Tibbetts, who was killed. Now, see, here they go. They say stuff like this. You know what? We shouldn't be politicizing this situation. It's only politicizing something when it's not a real problem. See, let me give you an example of politicizing something. The Democrats always crying about injustice and racism that doesn't really exist. That's politicizing something. But an actual real problem, meaning that someone is killed by an illegal immigrant, which we have been fighting for quite some time now for immigration reform, which would solve a lot of these scenarios and situations, but they don't want to fix it. See, so to identify a legitimate problem and address it and speak on it, that's not politicizing it. That's simply being productive and addressing real problems, not politicizing it. See, what I think is politicizing something is when you look at Michael Cohen, who was the president's lawyer, who's now in hot water and trying to get his butt out of it. And because he brokered a deal with a couple floozies back in the day, they're trying to make it seem like this is a major conspiracy and that the president is a criminal and a crook. And this is campaign violations, which if he spent his own money, it's nothing. They're trying to drum up something so Robert Mueller can write a report recommending that he be impeached. They're trying to talk about Paul Manafort and his dealings and his conviction that has nothing to do with President Trump. They don't like to mention that Paul Manafort worked for prior presidents and did similar work for them, and nobody brought any of these things up. See, here's what we see as smart people, okay? We see a attorney general who is too sorry to stop a rogue prosecutor that's going all over the place. I mean, he's in lanes that he was not even given the right to go in, and he keeps going, digging. He's beyond Russia collusion. He's going into stuff that have nothing to do with Russia. I thought, just me, I thought his goal and objective was to find out Russia's involvement in our past election, which we found that out. We know that they paid for a couple ads. We know that, you know, they did a couple things like that, did some rallies and stuff, you know. But besides that, what else? What else is there? So why are you still pursuing a crime that has not even been named yet? You're just going in all kind of areas, which leads me to believe that an ongoing investigation with no limits, no borders, no guidelines, no restrictions is simply a witch hunt. That is all it is. And if the Democrats were smart, they would say, okay, we need to pull back now. We need to back off because what is happening is all of President Trump's supporters, they're not seeing it the way we thought that they would see it. You know, we thought that they were going to start to look at President Trump as, well, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe he is corrupt. Maybe he is no, we're not looking at it like that. We're looking at it like y'all don't like that he won and that now you're starting to mess with my money, okay? Meaning by putting all this extra garbage on his plate, going in all these different crevices and turning over rocks, trying to find something to badmouth the president. All that is disrupting progress. And God forbid the stock market gets hit for this. God forbid you guys try to get him impeached, something stupid like that, which would backfire. But nonetheless, y'all don't care about the economy, all the people that's benefiting off of it. You don't care about any of that. All they care about is simply trying to get him out of office and get their butts back in power. That is it. And so because people are smart enough to see it, it's going to backfire. Because they're showing their hand. If this was spades, they would be like, I got two in the possible. Oops, did I just show y'all that? Yeah, they're showing their hand. They want to impeach him. They want to undo everything that he's already done. And by Robert Mueller going after people who have nothing to do with Russia, that is simply showing us the true intentions of the media. It's showing the true intentions of the Democrats, or I'm sorry, Demorats. It's showing the true intentions of Mueller and Rosenstein, which is killing me here, man. You work for the president. You work for the president, and you are not having meetings, going in, being accountable to your boss. I'm sure you should be trying to explain why Robert Mueller is going after people that have nothing to do with anything. What even made them decide to go after Michael Cohen? I mean, what? Just Stormy Daniels' word? I mean, was that a crime or something? What? I mean, I just don't understand why you would just decide out of nowhere, you know what, we're going to raid this man's office, even though there's no crime yet. We don't know of any crime, just allegations. But we're going to raid his office, knowing that he's connected to Trump, knowing that you don't really want him. And now you're going to force him to try to roll over on the president, which also is going to backfire, you know. And then you did the same thing to dang on Paul Manafort, you know. And I hope the president pardons him immediately. Soon as this is all over, pardon him. Michael Cohen, he could rot in prison for all I care. But what is going to happen, because the Democrats and liberal media are choosing to overlook real problems that Donald Trump is trying to address in America and focus on stupid stuff like Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen and trying to get the president out and doing everything they can to undermine what's really going on in America, it's going to backfire. People are going to see through it and say, you know what? We cannot let these knuckleheads get into office because we already know what's going to happen. They're going to mess with our money. They're going to mess with our health care. They're going to mess with immigration reform. They're going to either sit on the wheel and do nothing, or they're going to try to reverse everything, or they're going to try to get the president completely out of office and forfeit the will of the voters and the people that voted for him. And they're showing the hand early, and if they were smart, they would lay low. If they were smart, they would say, okay, right now, all right, we done did our whole smear campaign for 2 years. Maybe we should just go ahead and act normal and start talking about some real policies that maybe people might listen to. But no, not them. What they continue to do is push their false, phony narratives, and they continue to buddy up with the fake news networks that are simply ignoring all kind of stuff. Yeah, they're just simply saying, you know what? We're going to pick and choose what type of stories we want to focus on. Even though last week we were crying that an illegal immigrant who was simply just taking his wife to get some, you know, go get her surgery so she can have the baby. But yet they were stopped by those mean old stormtroopers, ICE, and just drug him out of the car. And God forbid, you know, here's this pregnant woman. She has to drive herself to the hospital. It's crazy. I mean, ISIS, they're like Gestapo right now. They're no different than, you know, the brown shirts. I mean, this is horrible. This is the type of dictatorship that Donald Trump wants us to, what? Just breaking news just came in. So the guy was wanted for murder in Mexico, huh? And the Mexican government wanted us to arrest him? Well, how do I spin that? Well, I've already committed to the false narrative that we talked about. What do you want me to do? Okay, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to bury that part, put it way down in the bottom, so when people are reading it, they'll just read the top part with us trying to make it seem like here's a nice, upstanding, illegal immigrant with no criminal record or background that was unlawfully just arrested by ICE. And then if they are patient enough and dedicated and educated enough to keep reading, then they'll see that we're pushing a false narrative. Okay, got it. All right, thanks. Wait a minute. Were you recording that? You were still, darn it, can erase it. Yeah, see, that's what they do. They simply look at stuff and say, okay, let's go ahead and pick the part that we want to emphasize so that we can stir up controversy and make Trump look bad, but not give all the details. You know, it hurt them deep to find out that the guy who killed Molly was an illegal immigrant. You know, they was like, shoot. Okay, let's go into crisis mode and figure out how to spin this to protect our diabolical plan for globalism, and to bring in more illegals so that they can, you know, create a workforce for cheap labor and also can be our voter base. Because we got to spin this, because people are going to be upset about it if they really find out that we're really behind these lazy, weak immigration laws that are contributing to innocent Americans getting killed sometime. And I'm so sick of the narrative that, well, statistically speaking, American citizens commit more violent crimes than illegal immigrants. So what? The difference between them idiots on TV is that they're American citizens that should be here. By being here legally, you get judged by our laws. Okay? So, yes, if somebody gets hurt, killed by another American, by all means. Okay? The person screwed up, they should be held accountable according to our law and our Constitution. But if you ain't supposed to be here in the first place, and it could have been prevented by simply stopping you from coming in or kicking you out and making sure that you stay out or building a wall, then guess who's at fault? The government's job is to protect us from foreign enemies, okay? That means people who don't live here. See, we're the only country that just simply says, you know what? We're going to turn our heads as other people just hop over our border, okay? As if, you know, we can't do anything about it. We're too weak as a nation to stop it. We're just being overwhelmed. I mean, it's crazy. They're coming in too fast and we can't put a plug in it. The water is just filling up the whole basement. Let's just move out the house instead of figure out how to solve the issue. And so you can't tell me that we can't solve this issue if we really wanted to, because we're America. That's what we do. We solve problems. But in this case, the Democrats and the liberal media and all of them are okay with creating a problem. All right? Meaning this is a problem they don't want to solve. They would love to see the broken immigration laws continue so they can continue building their voter base. And the only way they can justify it and make it sound logical in the minds of people who got the bubble head, the puppy brain, only way they can make it sound logical is to say, if you don't support this, then you're a racist and you support little kids being ripped from their mothers. But they don't want to talk about all the American citizens that's been killed and ripped from their mothers, husbands, wives, and so on and so forth. They just sweep that stuff under the rug. Won't even bring any of those victims' family members on their shows. They don't want them talking about the pain that they had to go through and the fact that maybe some of these citizens were deported several times, but no, you know, they just, here, now going back over there and promise us you're not coming back, okay? Okay? All right, see you later. See you next week when we catch you again and take you back over. That's what's happening, but MSNBC and them, they don't want to talk about that. You know, you're definitely CNN. They don't want to talk about that. No. They want to change the topic and focus on Michael Cohen. And you know, the real agenda. They want to just focus on impeaching the president, getting him out of here, and pushing a big fat false narrative, a race narrative, and not solving any of these problems, and going forth with their diabolical scheme to develop a one world government. That's what they're trying to do. Globalism, baby. And people that have two brain cells just floating around in your head every once in a while, bumping each other. Boing. Hopefully, you will see what's really going on and you will vote these funky, nasty, corrupt, crooked, insensitive, none-in-touch, partisan, bias, in cahoots with the nasty, dirty, funky Democrats and liberal media. Vote them all out. I don't want to see one Dem get elected in 2018. This is perhaps the most important election of America's history. And I got a gut feeling, because of all this obvious corruption and attempts to destroy this president, it's going to backfire. See, maybe people who might have wanted to stay home and sit on the couch and watch a little bit of Ricky Lake, some Wheel of Fortune, perhaps Family Feud, no. Now they're looking at like, y'all messing with my pockets, you're messing with my finances, you're messing with my safety, you're messing with my gun laws, you're messing with my freedom of speech, you're messing with all types of policies that we voted for. Therefore, I'm gonna get my butt off the couch, go out and vote every one of the Dems out of office. Now that's my steel shot. I'm serious. God bless you. You've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner. Check me out tonight, 7:30, Kevin's Corner live radio blog talk show. We're going to be talking about all this stuff. But find me on Facebook, Twitter. If you want to support Kevin and Kevin's Corner, feel free to do so. My links are in the bottom. See you next time in Kevin's Corner. God bless.